A line-by-line explanation of My Last Duchess by Robert Browning. Line 1. That is my last Duchess painted on the wall. The Duke points to a portrait of his late wife, the Duchess, which is painted on the wall. Line 2. Looking as if she were alive. I call. The painting is so lifelike that it appears as though the Duchess is alive. The Duke admires it. Line 3. That piece a wonder, now. Fra Pandolf's hands. The Duke considers the painting a masterpiece. It was created by the hands of Fra Pandolf, a fictional artist. Line 4. Worked busily a day, and there she stands. Fra Pandolf worked diligently for a day to complete the painting, and now the Duchess stands immortalized in it. Line 5. Will it please you sit and look at her? I said. The Duke invites the emissary to sit and admire the painting. Line 6. Fra Pandolf by design, for never read. The Duke mentions Fra Pandolf's name intentionally because strangers, like the emissary, are always curious about the painting. Line 7. Strangers like you that pictured countenance. The emissary, like others, is intrigued by the Duchess's expression in the portrait. Line 8. The depth and passion of its earnest glance. The Duchess's gaze in the painting conveys depth and passion, which fascinates viewers. Line 9. But to myself they turned, since none puts by. Viewers turn to the Duke for an explanation because only he can draw the curtain covering the painting. Line 10. The curtain I have drawn for you, but I. The Duke controls who sees the painting, emphasizing his possessiveness. Line 11. And seemed as they would ask me, if they durst. Viewers seem as though they want to ask the Duke about the Duchess's expression but hesitate. Line 12. How such a glance came there, so, not the first. They wonder how the Duchess's expression came to be. The emissary is not the first to ask. Line 13. Are you to turn and ask thus? Sir, it was not. The Duke explains that the Duchess's joyful expression was not solely due to his presence. Line 14. Her husband's presence only, called that spot. The Duke suggests that her blush or smile was not caused only by him. Line 15. Of joy into the Duchess' cheek, perhaps. The Duchess's joy might have been prompted by something else. Line 16. Fra Pandolf chanced to say, her mantle laps. The artist, Fra Pandolf, might have commented on how her cloak draped over her wrist. Line 17. Over my lady's wrist too much, or paint. Fra Pandolf could have remarked that her cloak covered her wrist excessively. Line 18. Must never hope to reproduce the feint. He might have said that paint cannot fully capture her subtle blush. Line 19. Half flush that dies along her throat. Such stuff. The Duchess's faint blush, which fades along her throat, was impossible to replicate in paint. Line 20. Was courtesy, she thought, and cause enough. The Duchess interpreted such comments as polite compliments. Line 21. For calling up that spot of joy. She had. These compliments were enough to make her blush or smile. Line 22. A heart, how shall I say, too soon made glad. The Duke criticizes the Duchess for being too easily pleased. Line 23. Too easily impressed, she liked whatever. She found joy in everything she encountered. Line 24. She looked on, and her looks went everywhere. Her attention and appreciation were directed at everyone and everything. Line 25. Sir, it was all one. My favor at her breast. The Duke's gift to her, the setting sun, or a branch of cherries all elicited the same reaction. Line 26. The dropping of the daylight in the west. Even something as simple as a sunset made her equally happy. Line 27. The bough of cherries some officious fool. A meddlesome person broke a branch of cherries for her. Line 28. Broke in the orchard for her, the white mule. She also enjoyed riding her white mule around the terrace. Line 29. She rode with round the terrace all and each. Everything, no matter how trivial, brought her the same joy. Line 30. Would draw from her alike the approving speech. She responded to all things with equal enthusiasm. Line 31. Or blush, at least. She thanked men good. But thanked. She thanked people politely, but the Duke found her gratitude excessive. Line 32. Somehow I know not how as if she ranked. She treated his noble name as if it were no more valuable than a trivial gift. Line 33. My gift of a 900 years old name. The Duke's ancient and prestigious family name meant little to her. Line 34. With anybody's gift. Who would stoop to blame? The Duke considers it beneath him to correct her behavior. Line 35. This sort of trifling? Even had you skill. Even if the emissary had the skill to explain his displeasure, the Duke would not. Line 36. In speech which I have not to make your will. The Duke claims he lacks the ability to express his feelings clearly. Line 37. Quite clear to such an one, and say, just this. He would have to say, this or that about you displeases me. Line 38. Or that in you disgusts me, here you miss. He would have to point out her flaws, which he finds distasteful. Line 39. Or there exceed the mark, and if she allowed herself to be corrected, it would still be beneath him. Line 40. Herself be lessened so, nor plainly set. If she accepted his criticism without arguing, it would still be degrading for him. Line 41. Her wits to yours, forsooth, and made excuse. If she tried to defend herself, it would still be unacceptable. Line 42. Even then would be some stooping, and I choose. The Duke refuses to lower himself to her level. Line 43. Never to stoop. Oh, sir, she smiled, no doubt. The Duchess smiled at him, but she smiled at everyone the same way. Line 44. Whenever I passed her, but who passed without. The Duke resents that she treated him no differently than others. Line 45. Much the same smile? This grew, I gave commands. His jealousy grew until he gave commands, implying he had her killed. Line 46. Then all smiles stopped together. There she stands. After his commands, the Duchess's smiles ended. Now, she only exists in the painting. Line 47. As if alive. Will it please you rise? We will meet. The Duke abruptly ends the conversation and invites the emissary to leave. Line 48. The company below, then. I repeat. They will join the others downstairs. The Duke reiterates his point about the dowry. Line 49. The Count your master's known munificence. The Count, the emissary's master, is known for his generosity. Line 50. Is ample warrant that no just pretense. The Duke is confident that the Count will not dispute the dowry. Line 51. Of mine for dowry will be disallowed. The Duke expects the dowry to be paid without objection. Line 52. Though his fair daughter's self, as I avowed. The Duke admits that his primary interest is the Count's daughter. Line 53. At starting, is my object. Nay, we will go. He reiterates that the daughter is his goal and invites the emissary to leave. Line 54. Together down, sir. Notice Neptune, though. As they leave, the Duke points out a statue of Neptune. Line 55. Taming a seahorse, thought a rarity. The statue depicts Neptune taming a seahorse, a rare and valuable piece. Line 56. Which Claus of Innsbruck cast in bronze for me. The statue was created by Claus of Innsbruck, a fictional sculptor, for the Duke. The Duke's monologue reveals his pride, jealousy, and need for control. He objectifies the Duchess, reducing her to a painting and a dowry, and his casual mention of commands suggests he had her killed. The poem critiques power, gender dynamics, and the dehumanizing effects of pride. Here's a quick analysis of Robert Browning's My Last Duchess. Form and structure. Dramatic monologue. The poem is a one-sided conversation where the Duke of Ferrara speaks to an emissary, revealing his character through his words. Iambic pentameter. The poem uses a rhythmic meter, giving it a formal, conversational tone. Enjambment. Lines often run into each other, mimicking natural speech and emphasizing the Duke's controlling nature. Themes. 1. Power and control. The Duke's obsession with controlling the Duchess's behavior and image reflects his need for dominance. He treats her as a possession, both in life, through his jealousy, and in death, as a painting. 2. Jealousy and pride. The Duke's pride in his noble lineage, a 900 years old name, makes him resent the Duchess's equal appreciation for trivial things. His jealousy leads to her implied murder, as he gave commands to stop her smiles. 3. Objectification of women. The Duchess is reduced to a painting, a dowry, and a symbol of the Duke's status. Her individuality and kindness are erased, reflecting the dehumanizing treatment of women in patriarchal societies. 4. Art and reality. The painting immortalizes the Duchess, but it also traps her in the Duke's narrative. Art becomes a tool for control, as the Duke uses the portrait to showcase his power. Tone and mood. Tone. The Duke's tone is calm, polished, and conversational, but it hides his arrogance, cruelty, and possessiveness. Mood. The poem creates an unsettling mood, as the Duke's casual revelation of his wife's fate reveals his chilling nature. Key literary devices. 1. Irony. The Duke's polite speech contrasts with his sinister actions, creating dramatic irony. He presents himself as refined, but his words reveal his moral corruption. 2. Symbolism. The painting symbolizes the Duke's control over the Duchess's memory. The statue of Neptune taming a seahorse mirrors the Duke's desire to dominate. 3. Imagery. Vivid descriptions of the painting, the Duchess's blush, and the statue create a visual and emotional impact. Conclusion. My Last Duchess is a critique of power, gender roles, and the dehumanizing effects of pride. Through the Duke's monologue, Browning exposes the dark side of aristocracy and the objectification of women, leaving readers to question the morality of the speaker and the society he represents. The poem's enduring power lies in its ability to reveal so much about the Duke's character through his own words, while leaving the Duchess's voice eerily absent.